There's been so much change at Boise State.
Campus has changed immensely since I've been here.
Totally different.
To say Boise State has changed would be an understatement. Well, in 1979, the campus footprint was about the same, but the density of the campus was obviously less.
There were very few dorms. There were the towers, and then Chafee was there as well. But the vast majority of students were the non-traditional students.
Yeah, the student experience has changed. It's changed a lot.
I've been here for 6 years, and probably the largest change is that we've gone from a commuter campus to a resident campus.
But when I first started here, a large majority of the students were from Idaho. And so it really was, you know, they had that in common and they had similar backgrounds. Now you get students from, I have a student from Afghanistan, I have a lot of students from California. And I think as you bring different people from, even if it's just different states, that gives you something different in the classroom. The one thing that holds them all together, though, is their sense of pride in the university, right? So when I first started here, it felt a little bit like, you know, I go to Boise State. Now it feels more like the students are thinking, I don't just go to Boise State, I'm a Bronco.
Well, if we want to talk about the most recent changes, it's an exciting time for the college.
You drive down Capitol Boulevard now, and you look east, and there's this magnificent entrance into the Boise State University campus.
The sub when I started here was not a destination location, but now even just the student union building is somewhere, it's a destination. It's somewhere you want to go, and it's a good place to be.
I think we're very close to being true regional and maybe national leaders in a variety of areas.
I think research certainly adds to the prestige of the university.
Now we're moving out into trying to develop a new treatment for metastatic breast cancer.
Students that are involved in research, I think, have a leg up on students that are not.
I think people are starting to find, well, why not just go for the big stuff? Why not try to cure cancer?
In the 9 years that I've been here, we've gone from overheads and chalk dust to iPads and smartboards. I mean, the technological changes have been pretty amazing.
It's an exciting time to be an academic because I think that we are not in ivory towers anymore, you know? We're in glass houses, you know, we're right there with the community looking at what their needs are. And I think a community like Boise is at the point where they know if they've got an issue in their organization, an issue in their nonprofit, there's gonna be somebody at Boise State that's gonna be able to help them.
Rather than having a contract with an out-of-state consulting firm, they can reach across the river to Boise State and say, hey, can you help us with this problem?
From the time that I've been here, if you look at that trajectory for Boise State, it's going up.
What we have an opportunity to do right now is to just go off the charts as far as innovation and challenge ourselves as an academic community, challenge the students, provide really cool, unique opportunities like in a new school setting.
Do I know what we're going to look like 10 years from now? No way. I mean, I didn't know, I could never have guessed we looked like this 10 years ago. I just think that as long as you have leaders that are willing to let the faculty be innovative and thoughtful and take risks, that we'll come up with some really great things.
I think we've got to look at who we are and where we are, and we just have to be ourselves. We've got the blue turf, right? I mean, that's pretty unique. Let's not lose that kind of blue turf mentality. I think that's really critical.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Ivana. I'm a senior studying English linguistics with a music minor.
And my name is Sarah. I'm a junior studying chemistry, emphasizing in biochemistry.
We're here this morning to tell you a little bit about what it's like to be a student at Boise State University today.
When I ask my fellow students, how are things going? They say, things are going well. I'm really busy. And I took a second to think, why are students always telling me that they're so busy? And I realized that it's because there are just so many opportunities on this campus. And so I first want to talk to you about my own opportunities that started before I was even a student here. I began my research in the chemistry department when I was a senior in high school, and I've continued ever since. And I'm not the exception to a rule. I see so many high school students go through research in many different STEM departments, and even more undergraduates just like myself.
Sometimes the opportunities take us far beyond the Boise State campus. I was blessed to be able to go study abroad in Israel and to learn more about a country that I'd always wanted to know more about. And coming back here, that presented me with research opportunities, and just it enriched my life, as do a lot of the opportunities that I have been presented here. I've been on this stage before, playing in the Symphonic Winds Ensemble and in the University Orchestra. And on Friday, I will be running in here with the marching band to greet the freshmen coming in for convocation. So a lot of our opportunities are just a lot of fun.
The other thing that I find very amazing about Boise State is the academic support that I receive. A lot of times freshmen come in and there's so many classes that they have the opportunity to take, but they're not sure when they should take them or what classes they should take in their major and what classes they shouldn't. And the faculty that really help with that are the academic advisors. I've received wonderful academic advising, and it's really helped me through my journey here.
I couldn't agree more. I think the advising and the faculty are the ones who really make our opportunities possible for us. My advisors have pointed out opportunities. They've mentored me through the process and encouraged me that I really can do things that I have done so far and will do in the future.
I think the last thing that I really enjoy about Boise State is the accessibility of the professors. You're what make the difference for the students, and you make yourselves available for us even when your schedules are busy. I know any professor that I take a class with, or even a professor I don't have a class with, I can talk to them in their office during their office hours. They're very easily reachable via email, and they want to talk to me. They want to know what I have to say, and that makes me feel really good, because I feel like if I was at a different university, maybe that wouldn't be the case. And even some professors that are the most busy on campus will say, I know I'm really annoying to get a hold of, but keep bugging me because I do want to talk to you, and that's what makes a difference.
Yeah, even professors that are in a field different from my own have always been more than willing to talk to me, and that's just been really great. So if one of the incoming freshmen on Friday approaches me and asks me, what is it like to be a student at Boise State? I could tell them the things that we have just told you about, or I could simply say that it is made to be what you choose to make it. Thank you. See you in class next week.
Thanks so much, Sarah. Appreciate it very much. Thank you. Thank you. All right, so I'm the guy that gets to follow a really incredible musical performance and two of the most articulate students we have here on this campus. That's not going to be easy. First of all, welcome once again to all of you. This year, for the benefit of our campus partners, we've invited some folks from the community, and we really do appreciate your coming here as well. And don't think I don't know the number one question on your mind right now. What the heck are we doing in the Morrison Center when we've done this for who knows how many years over in the Jordan Ballroom? Well, I don't know whether you noticed, but those speeches over in the Jordan Ballroom were getting longer and longer and longer. And I got to thinking, these seats are really comfortable. And I've seen people fidget over there in the Jordan Ballroom about 10:15 or 11:15 or whatever it was. And I thought, I've seen people sit here in this theater for 2 hours without a break. Now, that isn't really the reason we're doing this. It has a lot to do with this video presentation, a number of things we're going to do here today. We'll have 2 or 3 of these for you. And I just thought that this screen looks better than it does over in Jordan when you're going back and forth between 2 of them. But if I don't get over here to the notes that guide me through this presentation, it will be 2 hours while you're sitting here. But once again, I want to thank everyone for coming and for the great partners you've been here at Boise State. We have been, as the video suggested, We've been on an incredible journey since the start of the millennium. Boise State has grown our student body by a third, and our thriving campus life has really taken off. In fact, on Friday, this will be the site of the convocation. I think that's something I say later in my speech. But we fill this up all the way up to the rafters. And then after the convocation, parents and new students all march the length of the campus down to the football field where they take that B picture that you saw in the video. We've more than doubled our graduate offerings and transformed our research efforts. You saw that on the video as well. We've nearly tripled the number of our out-of-state students, and our student body today is more diverse, more prepared to succeed than ever before, and we enroll more full-time students than ever before, who then move right through and finish on time. Perhaps most impressively, we've grown our number of graduates by more than 70% in less than 15 years. Boise State now confers more bachelor degrees than any university in Idaho, and more than 70% of our graduates at Boise State stay here in Idaho, live, work, and raise families in Idaho. I can assure you this trajectory of success is hardly over. We're in the middle of it. I'll start with Julie Oxford. She and her team secured the largest grant in Boise State history. This has not been announced yet until this moment. It's a $10 million federal grant from the National Institute of Health to build a center for biomedical research here on the campus of Boise State University. Congratulations to Julie and her team. There they are. Our computer science department broke ground for a major downtown presence, moving our faculty and in-demand students. That's a visual of what that building will look like. They've already begun on it, I believe, but we're really excited about that. And it's due in some part to a grant that our local industry leaders helped fund. It's a Department of Labor matching grant, and we're excited about that. Some of our raptor biologists found themselves in an interesting place this summer. That would be Spain, working with golden eagles. Oh, those are burrowing owls. How about that for a nice shot? That's the way a speaker tries to get the attention and the support of an audience, is to show baby burrowing owls. And then I believe we also have some eagles. We have a golden eagle up there somewhere. Maybe he didn't make the trip today. Our faculty taught, researched, and presented ideas all over the world: Paris, Buenos Aires, Viterbo, Italy, Warsaw, Poland, and even Transylvania. And that's nothing. Astronaut, I think you saw him in the video, astronaut and professor of practice Steve Swanson was in space, as he is now, I believe, and he met our students there. I think that was May. We had a special opportunity to link up with the International Space Station, and Steve and his partner could talk to our students about the experience and some of the things they were doing down here as well. Our incoming freshmen, what an interesting class of first-year students we have. Hannah Newhouse from Twin Falls raced in the Spears SRL Southwest Tour. That's one of the feeders to NASCAR. All right, there she is. Lindsay Kruger from Tehachapi High School in South Central California. She's on the right on a horse. You can tell this is the West. She won a team roping championship in California and competed in barrel racing. They're both going to be freshmen this year. Actually, in Lindsay's case, who is the roper and the barrel racer, she's majoring in nursing, which I thought was a very good major for Lindsay to have. Congratulations to them. And if you saw that great little video, that graduation video before the show, that's the work of Christopher Lloyd. He's a class of 214 graduate making the most of his video hobby and what will be his full-time job. And I didn't have a chance to mention that we have a new football coach, a first. I know you haven't heard that before. Brian Harson, a Boise State graduate, has joined us. We are really excited about what Brian has done since he's been here. That would not be what we're excited about, but I'll get to that in a minute. What we're excited about is that Brian has taken really a whole new approach to his job. You may know from reading the local papers that he and his coaches made these 2 trips across Idaho to meet students. Now, admittedly, he was looking for football players, but when he gathered 700 people families in Idaho Falls at a public park, all with their Boise State gear, I could tell immediately that he really wasn't, even if he thought he was, and I know he didn't, he really wasn't recruiting just football players. There were plenty of young people there who were listening to a guy talk about excellence, listening to a guy talk about how to get a job done and do it well. And that kind of role modeling, I think, will send more and more Idaho students here to Boise State. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that later because I do think that when it comes to recruiting, it's going to have to be a team effort from here on out, as you'll hear a bit later. By the way, I have it on really good authority that some of those coaches really didn't think this was a good idea and were very uncomfortable until they were dismounted. We're looking forward to a great season, and of course that begins against Ole Miss next week. This is an appropriate time for me to introduce our new faculty members, which come to us from the finest graduate schools in the country. We're proud to welcome them. Could we get the lights up? Maybe, and if we can't get the lights up, will you please stand anyway so we can see our new faculty who have joined us this year. Thank you for coming. Great. Yeah. And as far as our first-year students, I really wanted to give you a profile of our incoming students for the first year, but we're still trying to figure that out and get all the details, and frankly, we won't have any enrollment numbers until October anyway, but we're really excited about what we see in these numbers for our incoming class, and again, we'll share that with you when it's available. These students who come to us these days have all kinds of choices out there. I don't really have to tell you that. We do not just open our doors and wait for them to arrive. And by the way, there was a time when we did that, and frankly, so did everybody in higher education. You just hang out and hope that on enrollment day, they show. Recruitment of students today is a really competitive business. And what we have to do is differentiate the Boise experience from the rest of the marketplace. And it's a crowded marketplace. In fact, this year, for the first time, there will be 2 full-time recruiters living and working in areas where we have large numbers of students coming. One, Seattle, and the other, Southern California. That's a first for us, but other schools have been in this business for some time, and there's no doubt that it gives us more of an opportunity to meet high school students and parents, counselors, teachers, and impress upon them what a great job you are all doing here at Boise State University. After about 2 decades of steady growth in the number of high school graduates, the country likely peaked at about 3.4 million graduates in 2011, and we'll see a modest decline over the next few years. That's according to the Western Interstate Higher Education Commission. Since the Great Recession of 2008, we've seen for the first time in my recollection, in addition to the decline in high school students, and you'll see it up here, a steady drumbeat from our nation's media on a college degree. I mean, I'm sure that you may have seen 1 or 2 of those, but there's a good number of them. Now imagine what that does to a family, to students in high school, to parents who are thinking through the cost of a higher education, and you look and read articles like that. That's of great concern to us, especially since we know from U.S. Department of Commerce ratings that over the course of a lifetime, a college degree is worth $1 million more or over than if you only have a high school degree. But we're still dealing with headlines like that. Our enrollment management folks work hard to find the right students to come to Boise State, to convince them to do so. Our admission experts have targeted growth states. There are some places where enrollment, high school graduations are increasing. That would be Texas and Colorado, to name 2. We spend a lot of time there, but don't think for a minute that schools in those states aren't also coming to Idaho. To the extent that recruitment fails to bring in a sustainable first-year class every year, including out-of-state students whose tuition boosts our revenue, we simply lose so many funding opportunities to improve our teaching, learning, research, and if I can mention just one pet project of mine since I've been here, the compression issue. We compete when it comes to hiring a faculty or staff member at the outset, and then by the time you get into the associate level, we start losing earning power. The way you deal with that is with a revenue stream that is sustainable. And obviously, I don't think any longer this can be a job for student affairs personnel alone. We live in a time now when recruitment's going to have to be a team effort, no longer the exclusive preserve of those recruiters, the folks working in student affairs, enrollment management, who go out on Monday, come back on Friday, and meet high school students and, as I said earlier, teachers and counselors. This year, I'm going to be asking our departments and colleges to re-examine the role they play in recruiting and to redouble their efforts. And by the way, I was talking to these students before they performed this morning, and I said, so you go off campus to do this? You get around and spread the goodwill and the great performances with other folks? And the first response I got was, yes, we do. In fact, we went on a recruiting trip So there's room for our students here, and I was just delighted to hear that the Department of Music has encouraged our students to join in this effort. As students in technology change and evolve, so too must our recruitment efforts. Kathy and I are good friends with a friend whose daughter lives here in town, and she debated for months and months and months whether she really wanted to go to school where she grew up. And finally, she decided to do it, and she registered. But she was still a little uncertain. She went online and found through the university who her suite mates were going to be. She contacted each of the suite mates. They created a little online community, and I'll tell you what, she is all excited about coming here. And one of the things she wanted to do is go away so she could meet kids from other places. Well, guess what? I don't know, something like 5 out of 7 of her suite mates are from someplace else. So she's going to be able to study at home at Boise State University where she wanted to go to school, but still have this interesting experience of meeting diverse students from other various places. Well, you know, I got to thinking, if students can figure that out, why can't we figure that out? And maybe the next step in our recruitment is what you might call experiential recruiting. And I'm not making this up. The fact is, I know there's some places over in London and in Britain where this is being done. But the fact is, it's just simply the newest effort where faculty and staff create online communities for students, prospective students, juniors in high school. And they start talking and discussing what we offer here, how we teach, how we learn, what opportunities there are. I don't really think that's too much different from some of the ways the athletic programs operate here, who lock in some of these players early on with these signing agreements and everything. Well, I think an online community would do the same thing. So we're going to take a look and see if we can figure out a way to do that. I would suggest it's particularly appropriate for departments who are perhaps experiencing low enrollments. What a wonderful way to help a student move toward a particular major. Retention and graduation are just as critical, if not more so than recruiting, and again, that's a team approach, and going the extra mile makes a big difference. A friend told me of a recent experience her son had at his university that reminded me how seemingly small gestures can enhance the experience of our students and their progression to graduation. The son was one of 6 students on a wait list for a course, and it was a course that he needed to graduate. Professor calls him up and says, look, I've been looking over the fact that you and 5 of your fellow students are trying to get into this course. I'm going to create a new section for you. Well, that's good, and that's the way you do business, right? But then the professor said, and I checked each of your schedules to see when you are all free, the common time when you're all available. And I've arrived at that number, and here you go. You're going to be taking this class at such and such a time. I thought that was such an unusual role for a faculty member to play that in this case, the professor's diving into the details of where these other students' classes are and figuring it out. Look, I know we have professors on this campus who are just as engaged in our students' welfare, and I'll tell you, in this day and age, that's exactly the way it has to be. And again, I can only suggest that we look longer and harder at how we can do even more of it. And one of the ways we're going to do more of it, we have a new tool. It's been developed by the Office of Information Technology and the Provost Office. It's going to be rolled out this fall. It is called the Student Success Dashboard, and it's going to identify students who may be struggling and how we can contact them to provide support and better address barriers to their graduation. Back to this problem here, this doom and gloom that the media is throwing at us over the utility of the degree. There's a number of reasons for that. One is a recent report by the New York Federal Reserve. To the surprise of no one who's been watching, it confirmed through analyzing over 20 years of data that today's graduates are having a tougher time transitioning to the marketplace than in the past. And many are accepting jobs for which they are overqualified, either low wage or part-time. They also found that graduates with technical skills fared better than the others, and that their majors had more to do with their success than where they went to school. The most selective schools, you major in a degree that simply doesn't have the employment potential, the school's not going to pull you through on that. Without a doubt, the issue of underemployment of today's college graduates is gaining steam among parents, students, and governing boards, which are beginning to hold us accountable, not just for student success upon graduation, but also in job and career access as well. In the state of North Carolina now, the governing boards are asking universities for data, not just on how many they're graduating, but where they are and what they're doing, and how that relates to the education they've received. Now, I want to share with you a statistic that I think is important, and I don't want to give anybody too much doom and gloom, but the Center for College Affordability and Productivity in Washington, D.C. may just have confirmed what's going on in our country right now. They issued a report. Number of college graduates expected to grow by 19 million in this decade. Okay, 19 million college graduates growing in this decade. While the numbers of jobs requiring a bachelor's degree is expected to grow by 7 million. American higher education will create 3 new college graduates for every new job requiring a college degree. So, the number of college graduates will grow by 31%, more than double the percentage growth in jobs requiring at least a bachelor's degree. This is U.S. Bureau of the Census information and U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics. In the meantime, that particular center claims that there are 20 million college graduates underemployed. Now again, there's always been underemployment among college graduates, especially in those first few years. What they're documenting, especially the New York Federal Reserve report, is that in a 20-year span, what we're seeing now is significant increases in that number that must be explained away or dealt with. Well, we're going to deal with it here at Boise State, and we already are. I mean, people like Debbie Kaler in Career Services has done a fine job of expanding opportunities for students seeking help in accessing the job market. Our orientation session, at the very beginning of the student's experience, even before they're starting to take class, their parents and the students are listening to a conversation from Career Services about where are the hot jobs these days and what kind of opportunities are there here at Boise State to join together majors and minors that lead to employment. Our Honors College uses some of the Valley's most distinguished executives, such as Micron co-founder Ward Parkinson, who volunteers his time to do mock job interviews with our honors students. Our Foundational Studies program creates experiences and builds skills for students from all disciplinary backgrounds and focuses on those soft skills that employers so often claim are lacking in college graduates today. The e-portfolio system, I can't stress that enough. I think that is really one of the neatest ways we can help students work through their undergraduate experience, record their progress so they can share that with an employer, especially the writing aspects of it, the ability to improve upon your writing and show your employer how you have done so. Very, very exciting. This fall, Professors Villachica and Professor Landrum That would be from the College of Engineering, and Eric Landrum's from Psychology. Steve is in the Department of Organizational Performance and Workplace Learning. They will gather together faculty members and business leaders for Boise State's first Treasure Valley Summit, Skills Summit. And the Skills Summit is designed to put employers and our faculty alongside each other to have a conversation about what does it take? How can we do a better job of preparing the students you claim you need for the workplace? I still remember an example from my experience in Kentucky. I got to know one of our most distinguished alumni. He was the president of the Bank of Louisville. And one day I said, Orson, you know, I'm amazed you majored in political science and you wind up as the president of the Bank of Louisville. I majored in political science and frankly never thought of myself as bank material, so how do you do that? And this guy, by the way, was as old as I am, so we're talking about way back in the day. And he said, well, I graduated in political science and thought, you know, I have skills, but I don't want to go into government. I don't want to go into politics. I just as soon go into business, and I lived in Louisville, and I applied at the Bank of Louisville and got the job. Well, here's the question. Do you really think a student walking into a bank downtown with that kind of background is going to pull that off today? I haven't seen any evidence of it. Or let's say I've seen little evidence of it. Maybe every now and then somebody's really able to do that, but generally speaking, I don't think it's possible to do that without a much more specific toolbox of skills that impress that first interview and that first job. Now, some of our students figure this out on their own. As I said earlier, they'll take a minor that's different than their major, knowing that one's going to work a little bit better in the workplace than the other. Some go on to get an advanced degree, and that's a great idea as well. But I think we here can do even more for our students. And I must say, Deans Peterson, Rourke, Ann Wheeler, and Alumni Relations Director Andrade are collaborating on a new effort called Bridge to Career. The idea is simple. Create a certificate program that students can layer onto their degrees to demonstrate organizational and managerial skills that will improve their prospects as both job applicants and successful team members in the profit or not-for-profit sector. A similar and equally important track will be available for students in technical fields where they need an opportunity to improve the soft skills that we hear employers discuss so often: problem solving, teamwork, work ethic, writing, critical thinking. Employers value those highly, and so often they claim they're lacking in our college graduates. We will be available to do that. It is our intention to distinguish Boise State University as a university that defines student success not only by the numbers you graduate, but also by success in the gainful employment of our graduates as a result of their undergraduate preparation. I don't think there's any reason why we cannot emerge as a leader in making our graduates the most competitive and the most marketable in the job market. Last week, I had a surprise visit from the president of Wake Forest University. And for those of you who don't know, I'm sure you do, Wake Forest University is a selective university with strong emphasis in the liberal arts, 4,800 students. And we talked a little bit about this challenge that we face today in underemployment and even unemployment. At Wake Forest, among their prescriptions for success are credit-based courses in career development, partnerships that bridge the career services office with faculty and academic advisors, alumni advisors for students, and perhaps most importantly, coursework offered by the business school that sounds exactly like what we are planning. Apparently, I don't think we're too far off in our design of Bridge to Career. But I can see some kind of a boutique set of courses that would offer double-entry bookkeeping, finance, marketing, the basics of the business experience, so at least when an interviewee is standing before the HR desk, he or she can talk knowledgeably about where they're going to work. And I know in my experience, I didn't have that coming out of school. Now, our state board meeting last week was really interesting, and I want to give you a little bit of a report on that. We concluded the first year, and I know you're going to hate to hear first year when I tell you what we concluded, because you probably thought it was concluded for good. We concluded the first year of program prioritization, and Marty Schimpf down here, your provost, did an outstanding job of explaining how we approached the challenge and the results achieved. Let's just say he did, I think, the best job, and people in the audience noticed that. All campus, please. Now, you all played a big role. You all invested lots of hours in this. But there was one guy who was there through the whole thing and who really just drove the process. And I think you know who that is, but that would be Jim Munger, wherever he's sitting. I just want to acknowledge him. I'm really glad I got that out of the way. All week it's been, Bob, you going to mention my name? Bob, you going to mention my name? Actually, that's the last thing Jim wanted, as you can, anybody who knows Jim knows that he didn't need to be recognized. Anyway, well, as a result of this effort, scores of programs from academic majors and minors to athletics, facilities, finance, and more will undergo changes to better align them with student success and community and student needs. A number of the evaluated degree and graduate certificate programs will undergo substantial changes to increase the number of graduates, better track student outcomes, improve the pathway to a degree, or be eliminated, and I'm sure you don't want to do that. The board was complimentary of Boise State's presentation, its results. One of the outcomes expected from this effort is, and again, this is the tough part, but it makes good sense, the institutionalization of this process so we continue remaining as cost-effective and efficient as we can. And frankly, I think Boise State's presentation was the role model for the other universities who were watching. Now, among the outcomes of program prioritization was the closure of the College of Social Science and Public Affairs. Some of those departments moved back to the College of Arts and Sciences, where they once upon were, and the rest of those colleges joined together where faculty leaders from the various disciplines led a discussion for at least 2 years about creating the School of Public Service. The school will be comprised of community and regional planning, criminal justice, military science, political science, public policy and administration, and what else? And environmental studies. There's a number of centers that are included in there as well. It's going to serve many purposes. There's no question about that, and you're going to see a video in a minute. But it's going to prepare students for careers in government, and it's going to provide our policymakers and our governments the opportunity to gain from the research that our faculty does. It'll bridge disciplines across the university, serve as a centralized resource. It'll facilitate the research and the service we provide our communities. As far as I'm concerned, the timing of our new School of Public Service could not be more appropriate. I am just seasoned enough, that's code for old, enough to remember John Kennedy's inaugural address. And it was my senior year in high school, and he said, "Ask not what your country can do for you, you know the rest of it, but what you can do for your country." I thought he was talking to me, okay? I thought he was talking directly to me, and I went out and progressed on a career that did exactly that. I majored and studied political science, and I taught political science, and I ran for office and served as a public servant. And then, about the time I'm teaching political science in the 1980s, it was with some regret, while I was teaching government in Chicago and serving in the legislature, that I heard President Reagan say that government is not the solution, government's the problem. Well, you know, I know people have differing opinions, and I know that speechwriters throw things into speeches sometimes just because they know it's going to get a headline. But the fact is, I think that notion that somehow government is the problem is really what has led to this unbelievable intransigence and dissatisfaction, stumbling blocks to working on legislation that is absolutely required for the American people. Over and over again, you see examples in the media and in the real world where the defunding of certain government agencies has caused an agency to miss a problem, like the monster spill in Charleston, West Virginia, where the governor was actually complaining about the Environmental Protection Agency until the spill, and then criticizing it for not doing anything about it. And we hear that over and over again. So I'm just really delighted about the school. I think that there is no question government serves an important purpose in civilized society. It should be our role at this university, and every university across America for that matter, to inspire students to serve in the public service, to study government, and in a sense, find a way to bring back those days when government was respected and when government played the proper role in our society. Watch this video.
You know, school public service is all about serving the public.
My perspective on public policy is that it's everywhere. I mean, regardless of what area you're conducting research or teaching, there's probably a public policy component. You know, it's not just a disciplinary specific world anymore. You know, a political scientist needs to know something about environmental science, and an environmental water manager needs to know something about public policy and social science.
And I think that's the beauty of school public service, is that we can cross disciplines. We may not speak specific languages, but I think we speak a common thread serving the public.
From the research side, we see this as just a great opportunity for the faculty who are working on really interesting projects to reach across and get expertise and partnerships with other faculty.
And I think one of the things that we're looking on long term with regard to the School of Public Service is if we can have that central location where it's really easy to interact and where the disciplines aren't so defined. I can bring in somebody from geosciences or somebody from civil engineering to talk about some particular aspect of environmental problems. It's easier to do that when you're in the building.
It's so complex, we can't do it alone. You know, we can't solve climate change, we can't solve pollution, we can't solve, water rights problems just by one individual or one discipline.
We've got a great opportunity, and I think the university is taking advantage of it to take advantage of our situation here in the state capitol.
It's really a pretty unlimited view on what we can do.
Well, we were running, thank you. I was running through those introductions so quickly that as I was watching this video, I realized I left a couple of people behind. And since they're two of our most important leaders at a university, but we're so delighted as to who they are and the job they're doing, I want you to know who they are. I don't know whether the video folks can figure out a way to bring them up or not. We had photos of them and everything. But Dean Ken Peterson is our new Dean of the College of Business and Economics. He comes to us from the University of Tennessee. He's taught at a handful of really prestigious universities, has a great career in supply chain management. He is now, there he is on the left. And you know Rich Osgathorpe. Rich, of course, has been one of us, 10 years on the faculty in the College of Education. It was so interesting interviewing Rich because what I was looking for was the focus on student teaching and the training and improving the quality of students that we bring out here. And boy, Rich impressed every one of us, and he is today the new Dean of the College of Education. Congratulations to both of them. Welcome aboard. So moving on from our conversation about the College of Public Service, Boise State and Boise isn't just the heart of Idaho politics and government. It's also a regional healthcare center that provides healthcare to an area far beyond our city's borders, and Boise State has become a partner with local health industry leaders in producing the healthcare workers of tomorrow in the clinics, the hospitals, the communities. That's why I'm pleased to announce today a reorganization of the College of Health Sciences, which will create the School of Prevention and Allied Health to join the School of Nursing and welcome the School of Social Work and Student Health Services to the college. Our Dean of the College of Health Sciences, Tim Dunnigan, led this effort, and this video will explain the reorganization.
I think what sets Boise State apart, and the reason that I am so happy to be here, and I've been here 11 years, is because of how flexible this institution is. We proposed a change, and the upper administration didn't stand in the way. And I've seen that time and time again with programming. They've said, okay, let's take a chance.
The new College of Health Sciences will consist of 3 schools. We'll have the School of Nursing, the School of Prevention and Allied Health Sciences, and the School of Social Work. We'll also be bringing in the unit of University Health Services.
It's all about how do we build teams and how do we, we have a problem and we build a team to solve that problem.
We'll bring the rad scientist into the classroom alongside the occupational health professional, alongside the respiratory care specialist.
I've collaborated with folks in radiologic sciences and respiratory care.
We've looked into potentially some involvement with the physics department.
In nursing and orthopedics and family medicine and neurology.
The broader the base of understanding that the student has, the better they're able to really deliver quality care.
Because when you are confronted with whether it's a natural disaster or whether it's just solving a problem in a public health setting, you do not do it alone.
Our partnership with Boise State is essential. Not only do we have research, but we also rely on Boise State and our partnership for our educated workforce.
They're taking our feedback to say, here's ways that we can see on a practical level you can continue to improve.
And that partnership is really very valuable to having us improve the lives of the people that we serve.
One of the common things that we have between higher ed, hospitals, providers, is that ultimately they're all caregivers.
I just think it's an exciting time with these changes.
It's going to be wildly different and hopefully wildly better.
Congratulations to Tim and his faculty. Over the past few years, I've made every effort to impress upon our campus community just how volatile are the changes in and around higher education. It's an exciting time, but we have to work hard to stay relevant and ahead of the curve. Clearly, we are in an era in higher education of redesign, where we need to test new approaches to learning and teaching, find new approaches to our degree offerings and research, and foster a culture that will marshal our creativity and innovation. And to help us do just that, I'm pleased to announce today the creation of the College of Innovation and Design. If you'll please watch the video.
You know, there's only a handful of schools out there that are creating something like the College of Innovation and Design, and here, Boise State is doing it.
I think that the College of Innovation and Design as a whole is an opportunity for catalytic reform at Boise State, maybe disruptive reform at some level.
You know, I think that's important. I don't think we would be able to exist as an institution just solely teaching as we have in the past.
I'm excited about this new college because it offers not only non-traditional academic programming, but it also offers research opportunities, multidisciplinary, transdisciplinary research opportunities. That is so cool.
Really, it's a mindset. It means I don't care that I'm a material scientist. I don't care if I'm a physicist. I don't care if I'm a chemist. I'm going to solve a problem regardless.
I think this College of Innovation and Design affords us that opportunity. Not take away from any of the great programs we have going on right now in the colleges, but maybe creates the administrative structure for us to do it more efficiently.
Instead of saying, I'm going to study my discipline, you say, I'm going to study an issue. I am going to study a problem. I am going to study a challenge.
It means that you're not afraid
and I'm going to bring together other people that also are interested, not in my discipline, but in that interest or that problem or that challenge. And I think that's the way that students think.
It means that you identify boundaries and you wish to dance around them and across them and bring others along for the ride and be dragged across at times.
I'm hoping one day in this College of Innovation that we can have classes and research projects where the social scientist and the artist is working next to the scientist and engineer, right? I hope we can do that.
I hope it's a place to play. I hope it's a place to think and to dream. I hope it's a place where failure is embraced, fear is overcome, and shame is absolutely eliminated from the process.
As I watch that, I think back to those numbers I gave you earlier about the oversupply of college graduates, about the underemployment of college graduates, and I think very seriously about the need for a college like this to do everything we can to create new degree opportunities that are so attractive to employers these days and who take various disciplines, break down the silos, and put them together. This College of Innovation and Design is going to be a university-wide hub that's focused on transforming academic programming, in essence. Learning and research at Boise State, it's going to leverage the speed, collaboration, and risk-taking of a startup. The college will inspire and support faculty, students, and community members from diverse disciplines to create new pathways of learning that anticipate the demands and opportunities of our ever-changing world and workplace. These teams will generate pioneering degrees, badges, and certificates, as well as design new and other innovative approaches to research and community engagement efforts. The college's creation is really a natural progression, if you stop and think about it, to trends in higher education, trends in the marketplace, and among our students and faculty. It's a trend that's taking hold at premier universities all over the country. I knew we were onto something when I read about Marissa Mayer, I believe, is the CEO of Yahoo. And if you read about why she chose Stanford University, you learn that it's because she wanted a major where she could combine philosophy, cognitive psychology, linguistics, and computer science. One of the greatest limitations of the traditional college structure is that each discipline is organized in its own department. That's where home is for the faculty, that's where the line is, that's where the tenured position is. And it's sometimes an academic framework that's difficult to overcome for both students and faculty. I don't know how many times I've said in these lunches I do with 7 faculty every 3 months, it is seldom when 2 members of the faculty know one another, because we require that everybody come from a different discipline and a different college. That's expected because of the size of our campus. So what's it going to take to bring that all back together? Again, I think the College of Innovation and Design will be set up to help break and blur the barriers that exist and truly create transdisciplinary programs, research projects, and more. Actually, this college has already begun its work with an initial request for proposals from Provost Marty Schimpf for undergraduate degree programs, certificates, minors, or badges. Faculty teams brought forward 24 proposals, and it's anticipated that several of those new programs will be developed as a result. And each one of those faculty teams were truly transdisciplinary. They represented faculty from different colleges and universities that all came together because of this incredible idea they had for a degree. Obviously, we're doing some of this already. In some cases, a lot of this. We have found ways of jumping out of our silos and found ways for our creative and enterprising faculty to do so. Just this summer, I ran across Stephen Olson Smith, who, as you know, is a scholar of Melville and Whitman, and he was on his way to a basic computer science course he was taking to learn how to code. He also taught a class for educators with computer scientist Elisa Barney Smith and historian Leslie Madsen Brooks called Humanistic Computing. Engineering professor Darrell Butt has taken his lab and tools and turned them toward a mystery of art and anthropology, trying to take a fleck of paint the size of a human hair and unlock the secrets of an ancient sarcophagus. At Boise State, where we fulfill our mission and role as a metropolitan research university, Our engagement in the region we serve has grown exponentially over recent years. The nature of our partnerships with government, business, education, and healthcare have grown more complex and more sophisticated. In the last year, the J.R. Simplot Company and the Idaho Department of Transportation both came to us interested in what resources Boise State had to offer them. As you can imagine, their work and organizational structure spans many of our disciplines, making it difficult to respond comprehensively. But we did so. But in doing so, we recognized that what we need to do is create knowledge communities. We really need to find a way to organize and sustain our faculty and our staff in the creation of these teams or organized communities that then respond to the needs that are thrust upon us by places like Simplot or the Idaho Department of Transportation. In a case like this, there can be little or no respect for organizational boundaries or traditional timelines. A project organized under the auspices of the College of Innovation and Design must be nimble, fast-tracked, resourceful, and inventive. Kathy and I recently attended a great first lecture on Leonardo da Vinci as part of the series being offered with our faculty at the Discovery Center of Idaho. And a shout out, by the way, to the Arts and Humanities Council, Deans Mull and Rorick, and others for putting this great series together. Professors Quincy Conley and Stephen Crowley did a great job introducing us to Da Vinci and what made him so unique. How could he be an artist, a scientist, an architect, all wrapped up into one? We think of him as an interdisciplinarian because of his many fields of accomplishment. But the lecturers posited, perhaps the reason Da Vinci could accomplish so much is because he didn't see it as interdisciplinary at all. He saw the similarities among his projects, not the differences. Or as engineering professor Will Hughes put it, and you've seen it, who teaches material science, and by the way, Will started out as a sculptor, science, engineering, and art are just facets of the same thing. If you can engage your research from the eye of an artist, the eye of a scientist, the eye of an engineer, it may allow you to access a broader population with the education or with the ideas that you're moving forward. That's exactly what the new College of Innovation and Design is meant to foster for our faculty and our students and to the benefit of the community at large. We are very pleased that Dr. Andrew Finstwin, who has done such a fine job as Dean of the Honors College, has agreed to step off and lead the development of the College of Innovation and Design on an interim basis while a national search for a dean is conducted and pending approval of the State Board of Education. So we're getting to the conclusion now, and I altered the program a bit. There was part of the program where we were going to actually turn the lights up and have you all rise and take a break. And then I thought, that'll really scare the daylights out of them. They'll think they're going to be in here till noon if I do that. So, and the reason I was going to do that is because we wanted to make one more announcement. And it really relates to the College of Health Sciences because the Health Services Center, which has not been a part of the College of Health Sciences, has now moved over as a part of the College of Health Sciences. And we are soon to embark on a campus-wide initiative on wellness, sponsored by the College of Health Sciences. The wellness program will be led by Dr. Michelle Immels, an experienced professional in wellness program who just happened to bring with her to Boise State our head track coach. So nice duo. The program will be aimed at making Boise State University one of the healthiest campuses in the country. Health services and the academic experts in the college will work together to help students prepare for a lifetime of healthy living. And don't think we're stopping at students. We're also after faculty and staff and provide the kind of support and services they need to make healthy choices every day. There'll be screenings, physicals, exercise classes, walking clubs, data analysis, research. Are you worn out as I am already, and you haven't even started it yet? That's the reason why we brought you down here, because you have to walk all the way back to the Morrison Center. That's the beginning of the wellness program here at Boise State. It better not be the end of it, though. That's what's important. Michelle's really great, and I know you're going to enjoy her as she kicks off this program this year. And I'll be kicking it off with her doing almost everything she wants me to do once I see what the rigor of that program entails. Well, in case you haven't noticed, there's been a thread running through all of the initiatives I've discussed with you today. The thread is the way a modern university must work across the lines and the divisions and the disciplines to stay relevant, to deliver quality in today's world. A world, as you can see, that is really changing. No group of faculty, I think, and staff who have worked in previous eras have ever seen the kind of numbers I shared with you from the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics. To the point where some critics are actually calling out for the reduction in the number of college graduates. Let's just put a lid on it. Well, I know I'm speaking to the choir here. The college degree is so valuable in so many ways when it comes to promoting great citizens. It isn't only about getting a job. We understand that. And for that reason, we here at Boise State will remain absolutely dedicated and committed to graduating our students and welcoming more of them in every year we can do so. But whether we're talking about faculty working with administrators on student recruitment, or the needs for programs like Bridge to Career to blur the lines and broaden the education of technical or liberal arts students, or the reorganization of the College of Health Science, the creation of the School of Public Service, or the College of Innovation and Design, it's all about finding better ways to innovate and serve students, the marketplace, and our varied partners. I hope we can let this spirit and now this reality of innovation and design become the hallmark of Boise State University and everything we do this year. I have no doubt that this year will be one of the most exciting and challenging in memory, thanks to your incredible commitment to our students, the communities and the state we serve. I really do believe Boise State is poised to stake out its reputation of excellence across the West. I hope you have a great year. I thank you for everything you've done for Boise State. Do remember there is a lunch at the end of your exercise, and have a great day. Thank you so much for joining us today.